Right, Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Welcome to today's class. I say Shabbat Shalom to everybody tuning in and wishing you a peaceful Sabbath, man. All right, today's class is going to be entitled "The Work Must Continue." All right, the work must continue. Revelations chapter 13. All right, so real quick, let me share my screen real quick, or at least attempt to. Let me see. And let me share it. That's madness, man. That's all right. They ain't gonna stop this work, though. Work gonna go on. All right. So, like I said, all praises and honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. All right. Matter of fact, let me change this layout real fast. I like how that looks. All right, that's better. All right. Yeah, all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahawashi. All right. The name of this class is The Work Must Continue. All right. The work must continue. Revelations chapter 13. All right. And we're going to explain why it's called that, Lord willing, throughout this class. All right. It's a lot of things going on in prophecy right now that's taking place, that's playing out real time in our faces. All right. We can see it. We can turn on CNN, Fox News, whatever it is that you watch, and you can see these things happening in the earth. All right. That's a blessing to be able to see those things in the times that we living in, to be able to be alive and actually see things that was written hundreds of years ago, some even thousands of years ago. All right. Taking place in our lifetimes. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go to the book of Luke. All right, y'all bear with me. For some reason, it's only letting me share one of my screens instead of the entire screen. All right, I don't know why it's doing that. Just a few minutes ago, it was letting me share my entire screen. I just chopped that up to Satan doing his job. All right. All right, so let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21. And we're going to start at verse 24. All right. So it says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. All right. So this is Yahweh Shai prophesying, okay, the invasion of Jerusalem by Rome in 70 AD. All right. He's prophesying the invasion of Jerusalem by Rome in 70 AD. All right. He says, and they there is Israel, shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. All right, this has happened. We're captive in all nations. You are captive right now. You still a slave, bro. You still a slave, sis. You can't leave unless they give you permission, right? It says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So it's letting us know something very important. Of course, you got Gentiles are meaning the word Gentiles meaning literally nations. Okay. So it says Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Jerusalem is going to be inhabited by Gentiles or the nations until their time is up. That's what that's saying. They're going to live there. They're going to be in that land until their time is up, until the Lord until the Lord deem that they time be up and it's time for them to go. All right. It says until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Well, what's gotta be fulfilled within that dispensation of time of them being in that land? Chiefly Deuteronomy 28, the curses. All right. The curses are an identifying marker for the children of Israel. All right, let's get that. Let's get that in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And verse, I want to say it's 47 or 46, Salaki. All right, I'm going to start at 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee, meaning the curses will fit the Israelites no matter where they go. You're going to be looked at as a byword. You're going to be looked at as a Negro. You're going to be looked at as a Mexican, a wetback, a Puerto Rican, a rich port, a Jamaican, the land of wood. Hey, these things you're going to be on the bottom of society as a nation. These things are going to pursue you, right? No matter where you go as a nation, and overtake thee, meaning they're going to hinder you. They're going to overcome you, right? Till thou be destroyed, right? So that's a letting us know it's a limit to that. It's a till, that word till right there, meaning it's going to stop at a certain point. All right, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. Right, verse 46. And they here is the curses up here, and they shall be upon thee for a what? A sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So we fulfilling this. We done fulfilled all these curses. We done fulfilled them all. All right. I'm gonna let you know something very important. As a matter of fact, let's go to the book of Acts. All right, let's go to the book of Acts real quick. Something started to happen, all right, around 2020. What you had going on during the pandemic and people being locked in their houses was people started to read. People started to wake up at a tremendous rate. All right. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 7 and verse 6. It says, and Yahweh spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land. We just read that in Deuteronomy 28. It says, and that they should bring them into bondage, captivity, and entreat them evil 400 years. All right. So the first settlement was established in what's called America today in 1619. 400 years from then is 2019. Now, what dropped in 2019? What happened, right? Once 2019 was completed, you had the pandemic. You had people being locked in their homes. They couldn't go to work. They couldn't go to school. There wasn't nothing left to do really but to open up this Bible. And people started to wake up at a tremendous rate. Since then, you've been seeing a lot of interesting things taking place in the land of Jerusalem, right? That's letting us know that the times of the Gentiles and the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28 had come to pass. Now, are we still under curses? Yeah, absolutely. The Lord has not yet delivered us yet. All right. The Most High has not yet delivered us from this land, but that's the reason why you see things speeding up. It's speeding up and it's rolling downhill at a fast rate. It's never been like this before, ever. All right. Shalom, King. All right, so let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy, not Deuteronomy, Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. All right. Let me go there in my Bible real quick. We're going to tie all this together, Lord willing. All right, Daniel 7, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right, it says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream. So Daniel had a dream, and then he wrote down a dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my visions by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. All right. So the four winds of heaven, meaning from every direction, okay, from every single direction, strove upon the great sea. Okay. It says, now what is this sea? We're gonna come back here. Let's go to Isaiah. What is this sea? Chapter 17 and verse 12. All right. It says, woe to the multitude of many people which make a noise like the noise of the sea. So what we're talking about here, what Daniel is seeing, is multitudes of people. All right. Multitudes of people. Seas in the Bible, a lot of times, most of the times, represent peoples, multitudes. All right. So let's go back. Let's go back to Daniel. All right. So Daniel 7 and verse 2 again. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my visions by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another. Now, what is he talking about? Four great beasts, four different kingdoms. Okay, four different kingdoms. All right, it says the first. Now we get into the first beast. Okay, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld to the wings there plucked, the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Now let's go into that. What's this beast here? This beast that was like a lion. This first beast is describing the kingdom of Babylon. All right, that's where Daniel was when he had this dream. All right, that's the beast that is talking about. So it's talking about from the time he had this vision until the end. Okay, from the time he had this vision until the end. All right, so it said it was like a lion. Babylon is the lion. It said, and it had eagle's wings, meaning what? It was able to conquer, all right, at a high speed. All right. It says, I beheld to the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, meaning it was conquered and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. The man's heart is going into Daniel. Daniel became raised up in the kingdom of Babylon as a man of understanding. All right, after interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream, after being thrown in the lion's den, he began to get certain status in the kingdom of Babylon. So Daniel's mind was chief and important in that kingdom. All right, let's keep going. All right, verse 5. It says, and another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Now, who ruled after Babylon? You had the Persian and the Mede empire. All right, that's the bear. The Persians and the Medes is the bear. All right, and it says, and it raised up itself on one side, meaning one. Now, Persia and Mede, that's a dual empire. All right, that's comprised of Japheth. We're going into genealogies in Genesis right now. So all praises to the Most High. I felt like it would be a good time to talk about stuff like this, to do this kind of class. All right, so remember, Noah had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Persia was comprised of two kingdoms, two different types of people, Shem and Japheth. All right. So this was a dual empire. All right. So the Persians and the Medes, that's who you got right here. All right. Let's keep going. It said, and it had 3 ribs in his mouth. All right. 3 ribs in his mouth, of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh. Now, what's these 3 ribs represent? Devour much flesh, meaning conquer 3 types of people. All right, let's go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 45. Wow. Isaiah chapter, let me scroll down. Wow. Okay. Boy, I tell you. Isaiah chapter 45, and we're going to read. So when you read Isaiah 45, that's going into prophecy concerning Cyrus. All right. Cyrus is who came and conquered Babylon. All right. So let me get there in my Bible real quick. All right. So we're going to go to we're going to start at verse 13. Isaiah 45 and verse 13 to deal with these ribs in his mouth. All right, it says, I have raised him up in righteousness, and I will. So the Medes, make you understand, Cyrus was of the Medes. Persians is when you get to like Artaxerxes, around the time of Esther. All right, so let's keep going. It says, I have raised him up in righteousness and will direct all his ways, meaning I raised him up to fulfill a righteous purpose. I raised him up so that he could destroy those kings over there. It says, and I will direct all his ways. He shall build my city, and he shall let go my captives, not for price nor reward, saith the Lord of hosts. So Cyrus gave us orders. He gave Zerubbabel, right, orders that he could, after Zerubbabel interpreted a wise saying that he had. When you read the book of First Ezra chapter 4, he gave him instructions that he could go and build Nehemiah as well, right? That they could go and build and rebuild the city of Jerusalem. All right, and he didn't charge them anything to do that. All right, we'll get into that in a minute. All right, so let me keep going in verse 14. I want to deal with the 3 ribs. It says, thus saith the Lord, the labor of Egypt. So that's one of the ribs, the Egyptians, and merchandise of Ethiopians. All right. So what you got to understand to put history in perspective, Egypt was ruling, right? Then you had the Assyrians come and conquer them, but the Babylonians helped them do that. Okay. Put that in perspective for you. Egypt was ruling and then Assyria ruled, but you had the Babylonians help Assyria to conquer them. All right. So it says the labor of Egypt and merchandise of Ethiopia. So that's one of the ribs. That's 2 ribs so far. It says, and of the Sabians. The Sabians will be the Somalians today. Men of stature shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine. So be thine means you're going to conquer them. You're going to take over those nations, and shall come after thee. In chains they shall come over, meaning they're going to be captive, and they shall fall down unto thee. They shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely Yahweh is in thee. The Most High set you up to conquer us. All right. And there is none else. There is no God. So something to understand, all of this, what we're reading about the 4 beasts, goes along with the statue, the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had with the statue, the head of gold, all right, the breast of silver, I want to say the thighs of iron, and the legs of brass. I might have that backwards, but y'all most of y'all familiar with what I'm talking about. All of this goes with the four beasts, the dream that we're reading about that Daniel had happened. It's the same thing. It's all telling us the same thing. So when you look at the succession of the metals in that statue, the metals, the gold, the starting metal is more valuable than all of the rest of the metals. Okay, especially when you get down to having iron with mixed with miry clay. That's not, it hadn't been purified, hadn't been clean or nothing like that. All right. So when you talk about gold, it's more valuable, but iron is stronger, silver is stronger, brass is stronger than gold. So it was the same way with the kingdoms. Okay. Each kingdom was less valuable or had less merit or less glory, but they were more stronger in succession. All right. So let's keep going. It says, they shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely God is in thee, and there is none else. There is no God, right? There is no other God, basically. So those are the three ribs, your Sabians, which is your Somalians. Then you got the Egyptians and the Ethiopians. Cyrus conquered all three of them. All right. He conquered all three of them. So that's your bear, Medo-Persia. All right. And it was a dual empire, and it raised itself up on one side. All right. One side was stronger than the other. All right. So let's go back. Let's go back to Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. And we're going to pick up at verse 6. All right. It says, hold on. All right. It says, I'm going to read 5 again. It says, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. All right. And it had 3 ribs in his mouth, in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh, meaning you're going to conquer a lot of people. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. Now, who ruled after Medo-Persia? Greece. All right, that's your leopard. It says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. All right, 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So 4 wings, 4 heads, 4 major rulers, 4 significant rulers. All right. You had Alexander the Great started out, and then his generals took over, which was Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. All right. Ptolemy is who ruled in Egypt. All right. Let's keep going. Matter of fact, yeah, let's keep going in here real quick. All right. It says, verse 7, after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. All right, so now we're getting into Rome. Iron teeth meaning a strong military. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. All right, 10 major empires that came from Rome. Now, what made Rome diverse from all the other beasts? What made it different? Right? Let's go real quick to the book of Maccabees. See, Greece, Babylon, you had to worship Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar had to be your god, and everybody had to worship Nebuchadnezzar. All right. Medo-Persia, same type of thing, a little different because they didn't give sole authority to their king. It had somewhat, the king couldn't even change his laws, right? And Medo-Persia, whoever was ruling, the laws of the land was the laws of the land, and that trumped what the king said. All right. Greece, you had to leave your laws and everybody had to be one. All right. Rome was a little bit different. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. First Maccabees. And I want, let me find it real quick. Hold on. I'm thinking about first or second Maccabees. I might be thinking about second. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. I think I'm thinking about second Maccabees. Nope, I'm thinking about first. I'm thinking about first. Hold on. Yeah. First Maccabees chapter 8. Let's go there. First Maccabees chapter 8. Let me open up the Apocrypha. I don't know why they let me share my whole screen like I want. All right, that's all right. First Maccabees chapter 8. And let me start at verse 11. All right. So we get into Rome. It said the fourth beast. Rome was the fourth beast. And we're going to look at what made them a little bit different than everybody. Right. So it says it was told him, besides talking about Rome, how they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles that at any time resisted them. All right. But with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity. That's the way Rome operated. If you were friends with Rome, then you could keep a relationship with them, right? They'll let you kind of do your own thing. They'll kind of let you worship your God, right? As long as you worship their gods. The same way, similar to what America is, right? Hold that. Let me get, matter of fact, I can't keep switching this window like that. I'm going to keep that up and I'm going to go to it in my Bible. Let's go to the book of John, right? Rome will let you kind of do your thing as long as you worship their gods, right? So let's go to John 11 and we're going to start at verse 47, right? It says, then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, because why? Yahweh Shai was teaching against Rome. He was teaching against these governments. He was what you would call a nationalist or a radical. All right. It said these are the Pharisees talking. They said, we leave him alone. If we just let him keep doing what he's doing, the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. So they didn't want to lose their setup. They were set up by Rome because they were compliant with Rome. They was allowed to rule over our nation and be the leaders of our nation. That's how Rome rolled, right? We reading that here. So let's keep going. It says, verse 12, but with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and that they had conquered kingdoms both far and high, insomuch as all that heard of their name were afraid of them. That's Rome, right? Because they had teeth of iron, like Daniel is talking about. They had a strong military, right? Also, that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reigned. That's why you had the Pharisees. That's why the people who was the Pharisees were the Pharisees, because Rome let them be the leaders. All right. It says, and whom again they displaced. Finally, that they were greatly exalted. All right. Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple. So they didn't have a sole ruler and a sole power in Rome. Nobody had a crown on, like Alexander wore a crown. Then he died, he put crowns on all four of his generals. Rome wasn't like that. They was diverse. Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, the two wings, right? That lion had two major rulers. They wore the crowns. You understand? So Medo-Persia, Darius, Artaxerxes, they wore a crown. Rome wasn't like that. All right. It says, verse 14 again, yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house. So a senate is a group of people that make decisions on behalf of the people. All right. Back then, I want to say it was 300 in they senate. All right. Yeah, I want to say they had 300 people in they senate. Today we got like, I think it's 100 or 120 for the United States Senate. Or it might be 150 for a senator for each state. It's 100. So it says, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people to the end they might be well ordered, and that they committed their government to one man every year. So they had what would be like something like an election in Rome every year. No other kingdom did that. That's where we get that concept from. We meaning Americans, right? America gets their concept of government from Rome. Keep that in mind. It's very important to understand. If you can connect the dots between Rome and America, you will see that they're the same beast. They're the same people. They operate and move the same. All right, let's keep going. It says, and that they were obedient to that one, just like you got Trump right now. He's the president. Everybody's obedient to him, and the laws and legislations and everything that he's signing and writing up. It says, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. Now, America ain't like that. They got envy and emulation amongst each other quite a bit, right? So that's the fourth beast. Let's go back. Matter of fact, let's go back to Daniel. Go back to Daniel chapter 7. All right, in verse 7. All right. Matter of fact, all right, Daniel 7 and verse 7. It says, and I saw this in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. So we just read about that fourth beast, Rome, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. So no signs were left. They tried to erase all signs of the nations previous to them, as far as your gods and what you believed in. Right? It says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, because Greeks wanted Greeks to rule. Rome was a rising power during Greek rulership, right? But they conquered Greece. All right. It says, and it had 10 horns, right? 10, what you call the EU or the European Union. We're going to get into that. All right, let's keep going. It says, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were the eyes like the eyes of a man. Now that horn right there that came up out of the head of Rome is America. Now, why I say this horn got eyes? What do you do with your eyes? You got vision. Rome, that's how America rolled. America had vision during the industrial age. They planned what we doing, what they doing over here in America right now. That was planned 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Them folks ain't. That's why I say that's kind of obnoxious of you to think that you going out and that your vote matters. Your vote don't count. That's just a thing to keep you being a part of Rome or America or the beast. All right, you supporting the beast as long as you do that. So it's got the eyes like the eyes of a man and the mouth speaking great things. Now, what's that mouth that this horn got? The media. All right, the media. Right from there, let's go to the book. Matter of fact, is that all I want? Yeah. Because verse 9, the kingdom coming, right? So this horn gonna rule until what? I beheld till the thrones were cast down. And all them rulers get destroyed, right? But I want to dig into that some more. So from there, let's go to Daniel 9. Let's go to Daniel 9. Right? Remember, the name of the class is The Work Must Continue. The work must continue. But before I get into the work, I want to show you why the work must continue. All right, Daniel 9, and we're going to read verse 25. All right, it says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince, shall be 7 weeks. All right, and 62 weeks, the street shall be built again. So it says, verse 26, it says, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself and the people of the prince, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Now, who came and destroyed the city and the sanctuary? Rome. All right. It says, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. All right. Unto the end of the war desolations are determined. But the part I want to focus on more than that is that in verse 25, it says, the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. Let's focus on that for a minute. When we was rebuilding the wall, right, that was during the time of the Medes and the Persians. All right, the Medes and the Persians. We was rebuilding the wall, and it was during troublous times. It was a lot going on, a lot of things trying to hinder us. All right, let's go to the book of Ezra. Let's go to Ezra. Go here in my Bible. Ezra chapter 1, and we're going to read verse 1 through 5. All right. Ezra chapter 1 and verse 1 through 5. All right. So it says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, all right, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, because what? Jeremiah prophesied 70 weeks until the temple be rebuilt. All right. 70 weeks until the temple be rebuilt. He prophesied that during the time of Babylon. All right. It says that now Jeremiah didn't go to Babylon in captivity. He was one of the ones that didn't get took. All right. It says the Lord stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus. We read that in Isaiah, king of Persia, that he might that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, but now the Persians, that's the bear. In Daniel's vision, that's your bear. All right. They wanted to make everybody one religion as well. All right. So that's why we was talking about when Haman had the letter wrote to kill everybody that was a Jew, because we had laws diverse from everybody. All right. They was the bear. All right. So it says, thus saith King Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Now, how did he know that? He read the prophet Isaiah. He went and read it. That's why he gonna say what he's saying. It said, who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build a house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God. Why he talking like this? Because when Isaiah wrote what he wrote about Cyrus, Cyrus wasn't even born yet. So Cyrus finally gets born, grows up to be an adult, becomes king of Persia, and then he go and conquer Babylon. And he read it and say, damn, this man wrote this about me before I was even born. They God is real. That's why he talking like that. All right. So it says witches in Jerusalem. That's the same thing Isaiah said in Isaiah 45. That y'all gonna let them go build a house, they temple back, and you ain't gonna charge them to go. You gonna let them go. All right. It says verse 4, and whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, beside the free will offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Now, you get a little deeper into this story when you go to the book of First Ezra about how he let us go, right? I'm gonna go and get there. I'm gonna keep this on the screen. Like I said, it ain't letting me switch the way that I want to switch. All right. Let's go to First Ezra. All right, chapter 4. And we're gonna start at verse. Let me start at verse 48. All right, it says, he wrote letters also unto the lieutenants that were in Cilicia and Phoenice, and unto the Liban and unto them in Libanus. All right, it says that they should, Libanus is Libya today. It says that they should bring cedar wood from Libanus unto Jerusalem, and that they should build a city with him. Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm up into Jewry concerning their freedom, that no officer, no ruler, no lieutenant, no treasurer should forcibly enter into their doors. That's what emancipation looked like. When they did the Emancipation Proclamation over here, it wasn't nothing like this. The police can come and break in your door. The Emancipation Proclamation, it is what it says it is. We're proclaiming that they emancipated, but it's not a law. It's not actually into effect. That's why they can still kick your door in. You understand? It says, and that all the country which they hold should be free without tribute. Tribute is taxes. So basically he said, look, don't charge these people no taxes. You pay taxes. If you don't, you go into jail. All right. So it says, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which they held. Because when we got took into captivity into Babylon, that's why they called them the daughter of Babylon. All right. They moved into our houses, into our land, and tried to become us the same way they do today. That's why the Lord said, Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles come to an end and everything is fulfilled. The way they did it back then is the way that they doing it now. All right. So we gotta get them folks up out of our land. They over there pretending to be us. And you over here in Babylon as a captive, right? But let's keep going. It says, yea, there should be yearly given 20 talents to the building of the temple until the time that it was built, and other 10 talents yearly, and to maintain the burnt offerings upon the altar every day, as they had a commandment to offer 17. All right, so let's jump down to verse 57 in First Ezra 4. It says, he sent away also all the vessels from Babylon that Cyrus had set apart. So Darius is who we reading about right now. All right, in First Ezra. Cyrus is who was up here in Ezra, king of the Persians. All right, Cyrus set aside the vessels that was ours. All right, so Darius is enacting a lot of this. All right, it says, verse 57, he sent away also the vessels from Babylon that Cyrus had set apart, and all that Cyrus had given in commandment, the same charged he also to be done, and sent into Jerusalem. So Cyrus said, y'all do it. He didn't really live to see a lot of it get done, but Darius did. He seen old orders that Cyrus had written to let us go and build our land back, our kingdom back, and Darius made sure that it happened, or at least he tried to. All right, so I'm gonna jump over a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna keep this on the screen up here in Ezra, because I'm gonna come back to that, and I'm gonna go to First Ezra chapter 5, and I'm gonna read verse. See where I want to start. I'm gonna start at verse 71. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 70. It says, then Zerubbabel and Jesus, or Joshua, all right. It says, and the chief of the families of Israel said unto them, it is not for us and you to build together an house unto the Lord our God. We ourselves alone will build unto the Lord of Israel, according as Cyrus the king of the Persians have commanded us. But the heathen of the land, so we told them, look, y'all can't build with us. We gonna do it as a nation. As a nation, we gonna do this work. All right. They can't do the work with us. You understand? So yeah, you got camps out there actually that let Edomites come in and teach, and East Indians, and that ain't what we doing. We gonna build. It ain't meant for them to build with us, right? Let's see what happened when we told them that. Verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea and holding them straight, hindered their building. They hindered the building. So it's just put it like this: if you really wanted to see it get built up, if you really cared about the building of the temple, you wouldn't do nothing to hinder it. You wouldn't do nothing to try to stop it. But that's exactly what they did, right? It says, and by their secret plots and popular persuasion today is the media. Oh, they a hate group. Oh, anybody that's anti-Semitic need to get deported. That's popular persuasion. Propaganda, in other words, right? It says, and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived, so that they were hindered from the building for the space of 2 years until the reign of Darius. All right, so that's why Cyrus wrote this letter that we read in Ezra. But the whole time he was alive, they was hindering us from going and building. We couldn't do nothing until Darius came in rulership. All right, so hopefully that put that in perspective a little bit. Let's go back to First Esdras on the screen. In verse 4 again, it says, and whosoever, this is what Cyrus said, and whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, besides the free will offering of the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites. So Judah and Benjamin rose up, and the Levites. That's who went back to Jerusalem. That's why when you hear the term Jew, okay, the Jews is representing those three tribes: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because that's who was over there in that land by the time Yahweh Shah came on the scene. All right, with all them whose spirit God had raised. So the Most High raised up those tribes' spirit to go back and build. All right, that's very important to understand, because that's who the Lord chiefly using right now. He ain't chiefly using Northern Kingdom to build a house of the Lord. He chiefly using Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's who you you don't. I mean, show me a all Northern Kingdom camp. I ain't seen it. I ain't saying that it's not one, but I haven't seen them. I haven't. I'm sure if there was one, they'd be quite popular, right? That's out there going out and doing the work, teaching classes, and that's just, teaching the scriptures sincerely like that. Northern Kingdom got to catch a little hell first right now, right? And then you're gonna probably see that happening, right? But let's keep going. It says, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build a house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. All right. So from there, now let's go to the book of Ezekiel. From there, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel 37, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. It says, the hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones. Now, when you read Ezekiel, this is a dispensation of time. Everything that you read about the dry bones and them raising up, the spirit come up, them prophesying, that is a dispensation of time. That's not happening just like that. It's a lot of time that's going on in between these verses. All right. It said it carried them out into the midst of a valley, which was full of bones. Now, what's this valley? All right, we're gonna come back there. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 23. Right, in verse 1. Psalm 23, very, very popular song. All right, very, very popular song. Most people know Psalm 23. This the one your grandma used to read to you. I'm gonna read verse 4. It say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, David in the spirit is prophesying about Israel in the valley of the shadow of death. Now, where you think that is? The shadow of death. Where we at? Well, it's always death is a step around the corner, right? He said, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod and the staff is the Bible. A rod is something that you use for support. A staff is something that you use for support. A rod can be something that you use to chastise with, to beat somebody with. That's what the Lord used to chastise us with, the Bible. A staff is support. It give you a leg up. It strengthens you. All right. So that's the valley of the shadow of death. Let's go to Psalms 104. 107, Salaki. And verse number 10. It says, such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, being bound in affliction and iron. Right? So we sat in darkness, being bound in iron, chained up when we came over here on these ships. So America is the valley of the shadow of death. That's the valley of the shadow of death. Now, let's go back to Ezekiel real quick, because I want to show you something. in there. Ezekiel 37. So keep in mind, Ezekiel 37 is a process of time. It's not boom, 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 right? Ezekiel 37, and I'm going to start at verse. Man, oh, this is hard to just read some of this. All right, I'm going to keep going. Verse 2, it says, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley. And lo, they were very dry. Very dry, meaning what? No word being taught. No truth and sincere Bible being taught to us since we've been over here in this valley of death. Since we've been over here in America. Right? It says, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? So imagine he's seeing a whole bunch of bones just scattered everywhere. Scattered, like we was scattered. Whole bunch of bones, right? That's a image of destruction that you have right there. That's why the Lord said you just got a hip bone and a toe and a finger and a vertebrae. Can anything make this come back together? Can anything make these people live again? What he say? He said, and I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. Yeah, how only you know of. Look at them. They destroyed. All right. Why we destroyed? Hold that. Let's go to the book of Hosea. What made us be destroyed like that? You got to understand, through all these captivities that we went through, we always picked up and carried a little bit of what the nations taught us in every single captivity, right? Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed. All these bones that Ezekiel seeing, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy gods. That's why when we go out and teach the laws of our God to our people, people reject it because they don't know that that's their heritage. You're supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. You're supposed to be keeping the dietary law. You're supposed to be keeping the Israelite dress code. These are things you're supposed to be doing, but because you forgot, you destroyed. Right? Let's keep going. It says, I will also forget thy children. We the children of them. We their children. Right? So now you got our people, the children want to be in Islam, want to be Catholics, want to be boot, all this, the things the nations taught us. That's what they taught us. Right? So let's go back. Let's keep going in Ezekiel. Right? 37 and verse 3, it said, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered and said, O Lord Yahweh, thou knowest. Again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones. Teach them. Teach these bones. Go out there and teach them. And I said unto them, O ye dry bones, what? Hear the word of the Lord. Teach the Bible. That's how you're gonna teach. That's how you're gonna bring these bones back to life. It's gonna say it. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. I'm gonna cause breath to come into you, and you shall live. What's the breath? Let's go to Proverbs. What's the breath that entered into these bones that's gonna make them live? Proverbs 7 and verse 2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Meaning the most important thing to you is God's laws, doing what he told you to do, doing what he said to do. All right. If you do that, you automatically keeping the faith in Yahweh Shai. You can't keep the law without having faith in him. Because what? He is the law. All right. Let's keep going. Let's go back to Ezekiel 35 and verse 6. It says, and I will lay sinews upon you. Sinews is what holds stuff together, holds your bones and stuff together. All right. It says, and I will. So, what you got going on right now, I want everybody to try to understand this. What it's telling us is what somebody started to go out and teach. Somebody started going out and teaching. All right. It says something happened to us to make us start to want to bond together. What happened to us to make us want to bond and be closer together? Right. I'm gonna stand Ezekiel chapter 35. Right, in verse 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, right? So they got the people who got a perpetual hatred toward us is Esau, the so-called white man. That's why I said you got to understand that by them oppressing Northern Kingdom like that, that's only gonna make us as a nation come together. We're not gonna be able to, I guarantee you, we're not gonna be able to sit and watch them do our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters like that, and it just be, we just fold our hands up while we seeing mothers and children, get killed. We ain't gonna be able to do that, man. It ain't gonna go down like that, right? So what happened to us that made us start to try to come together, at least as a nation, was the oppression. When we was getting oppressed in slavery and during the civil rights movements in the 60s and the 50s, these are the type of things that made us start to come together as a people. Lay sinews upon you, right? And he said, and I will bring up flesh upon you. Flesh is your identity. Okay, I'm a so-called black man. I'm black and I'm proud, right? I'm black and I'm proud. You had the Black Panthers. You had the American Indian movement, AIM. All right, all this was taking place in the 60s. Okay, then you had the Brown Berets, right, in the 60s. That's the Northern Kingdom brothers that was like the Black Panthers during that time. So bringing up flesh upon you is that you're going to start to seek a sense of identity. All right, it says, and cover you with skin. He said, and then I'm going to put breath in you. So after you start to be oppressed and you come together, and then you start to seek a sense of identity, right? Then I'm gonna put breath in you and ye shall live. Then after that, after the Martin Luther Kings, after the Malcolm X's, after all these men, the great men that went out and did things to make us bond together, join together, the Lord said, now I'm gonna have somebody come out and put breath in you, and and you shall live after that, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh, that I exist. You're gonna know that I exist. Now, who in the world did that? Right? I'm gonna pull up something on Wikipedia. What happened in the 60s? When did we start going out and teaching the Bible? Thus saith the Lord, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of God. All right, let me look up something. One West Wikipedia. All right. So do this real quick. My screen. See, maybe it'll let me share it. Oh. I gotta do one at a time. All right. All right. So what you got to understand is the doctrine, all this that we see, all these different camps that you see, WFI, IUIC, who else? GMS, you got Sakari, New Wine Congregation of Israel, all these camps that teach this. You know, we got differences in doctrine somewhat, maybe like 5%, but the other 95% is for the most part the same. All right. All these camps, you know, you got HOI, House of Israel, all of these camps, these elders from these camps, they come from this place, which is called One West Camp. All right. One West Camp. So we're going to read a little bit about One West Camp. It says the One West Camp is a division of Hebrew Israelite groups that believe in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the exclusive identification of the 12 tribes of Israel with ethnic communities of Black, Latin American, and Native American descent in the Americas. That's who the Lord put it on their spirit to start teaching that first there, right? After we went into captivity. All right, we're gonna get into that some more. Let's keep going. It says the movement is named after its first grouping, which was located at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, in New York City. So that's where the name 1 West come from. It was that the camp started on 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, and people like Bishop Nathaniel, priest Salaki, the brother over HOI, I forget the brother name, Salaki King. A lot of them come from this camp. They were students in this camp right here. All right. It says, then known as the Israeli School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Now, ISUPK is still around today. It's just not ran by the same people as it was back then, right? It says the movement has since splintered into numerous camps, including the New York-based Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. It says, and the Pennsylvania-based Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, ISUPK. Hebrew Israelite camps related to the One West Camp do not consider themselves Christians and deny the Trinity. We do. Trinity was made up by Tertullian. We don't consider ourselves Christians because Christians was a name given to us by the Romans, all right, which was derogatory in a sense. All right. It says, as well as the belief that salvation is for all nations of the earth. The One West Camp teaches that Jesus was racially Black. So we deny the Trinity and we deny the belief that salvation is for all nations. We don't believe that because the Bible don't teach that. All right. Let's keep going. It says the founder of the first grouping and the movement was Abba Bivens, or Father Bivens, real name Edward Meredith Bivens, also known as Eber Ben Yamin, right? Or Hebrew son of Hebrew Yamin. I'm not sure what Yamin means. It says who claimed to have a revelation that Blacks and Native Americans were actually Israelites while traveling from Pennsylvania to New York. He attended the Judaism-related commandment keepers. So he learned from this group. Now, the commandment keepers, they were solid. I say the Lord, basically, how he does it is he rises the waters. What he said to Daniel, that knowledge is going to increase. As time go on, knowledge going to increase. It's going to increase. It's going to increase, right? So the commandment keepers, they weren't so much as on that the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were the Israelites. They was on keeping these commandments, right? So it says he was with them for up to 20 years. It says, but ultimately left this group in 1969. 1969. All right. That's important. That's very, very important. Okay, we're gonna remember this number because we're gonna come back to this number. All right, due to the disagreement over the revelation of the New Testament to start a group that rejected both Christianity and Judaism. So he left there because he didn't want to be associated with either one of those, Christianity or Judaism. It says after Bivens' death in 1973, two members were selected to lead the school, Moshe Ben Charim and Yaqub. Yaqub was another ex-commandment keeper. While Bivens founded the One West style of Hebrew Israelism, many of the specific doctrines that typify it were created by Yaqub's son, Ariah, including a reliance on the King James Bible. All right, so that's where that comes from. But it's important to know this stuff because a lot of us, we do these things, we go out and we teach it and we teach it and we teach it. We don't even know where it comes from. So you gotta understand why you doing what you're doing, or you just following something blindly and you don't even know what you're doing it for. Right. So it's important to go into this history, man. It says the 12 tribes chart. So he one who started that, Ariah, Yaqub's son. It says which assigned the peoples of the Americans to specific Israelite tribes, and a new form of Hebrew known as Lashawan Kodesh, or Holy Tongue. All right, so that's where that comes from. It says One West camp groups are known for open air preaching, meaning we go out on the streets and teach. We're known for that. It says and protest and attracted media attention with the January 2019 Lincoln Memorial Confrontation, which included a small New York-based group. The great majority of Black Hebrew Israelite groups outside of One West Camp and Nation of Yahweh do not share these beliefs. All right. So it says some of the church's descendants groups, such as the Gathering of Church, Christ Church, or GOCC, all right, Israel United in Christ, IUIC, have gained millions of followers and are expanded worldwide. So those are two of the biggest camps that come from One West, GOCC and IUIC, right? Of course, you got other camps, just like I named earlier, Sakari, WFI, Sons of Thunder, HOI. Shout out to all those brothers, right? That's doing the work. All right. So now from there, keep that date in mind. Like I told you, 1969. We're going to come back to that date. That's very, very significant. All right. From there, let's go to the book of Sirach. Sirach 48. All right. And we're going to read at verse 1. Let me put that on the screen for y'all. Sirach 48 and verse 1. I got to come back out and put it on the screen because, like I said, it ain't letting me share the whole thing. So hopefully you heard everything that we just read, because that's going to be important for the rest of this lesson. All right, it's going to be important for the rest of everything that I'm finna say. All right, Sirach 48 and verse number 1. Keep in mind, before we went into history of One West, we read Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37, once again, is a process of time which takes place, and it primarily the sinews. At first, the bones were scattered everywhere and just destroyed. Salaki, just destroyed. No type of identity. You couldn't tell what type of person this was. Just bones. That represents the nation of Israel. The sinews coming together, or something coming together to hold these bones in place, was the oppression. All right, we touched on that in Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. The oppression to the so-called Native Indians, the oppression to the so-called Hispanics, the oppression to the so-called Black people. That began to make us stick together, because we like, damn, we all getting oppressed by the same person. The spiritual, who the spiritual demon Satan is using, the white man, right? Then it said skin and flesh came over those bones, which is what? A sense of identity. That's what happened to us in the civil rights movement, with Marcus Garvey, with Malcolm X, even Martin Luther King later on before his death. I don't know why, coincidentally, when he started to talk against the white man and say that, you know what, we got the same devil oppressing us, all of a sudden he get assassinated. So even Malcolm X, he ended up leaving the Nation of Islam and understanding that the Bible was the book we should follow, and that yes, a lot of the things, some of the things and similar things in that the Nation of Islam teaches is true, but even they got infiltrated by the so-called white man. He said he went to Mecca and he seen white Muslims, East Indian Muslims, all types of nationalities that was Muslim. Just like today, I used to work at a prison. It blew me away to see it in person, right? So in prison, at 3 o'clock, they allowed Muslims to go out for their hour of prayer, right? They get that from us. All right. They allow them to go out for the hour of prayer, and they'll go out on the yard. They'll have their rugs with them, the prayer rugs with them, and they go out and they all pray during the hour of prayer. But I was blown away to see what they call them? They call them not the Ephah, whatever the hell they call them. It don't matter really. The head Muslim, I was blown away to see the head Muslim. He go around to all the dorms, go and get everybody that was a Muslim and be okay, it's time to go pray. You come. He was in charge of that, right? Rather than a correctional officer do it, they delegated that assignment to him, right? So he would go around and get all the Muslims, and I was blown away to see white boys with prayer rugs and the little hats on going out to worship with the Muslims. When that's the point that I was trying to drive home to you when we was reading about Ezra, right? And Zerubbabel and Nehemiah and them going to try to build. We didn't let the heathen build with us then. But what happens is, and Malcolm X said this in a famous interview, he said something I found very profound. He said, if your coffee is too strong, what do you do? He said, you put creamer in it to soften it up, to lighten the strength of it, right? And if you keep on adding cream to that black coffee, eventually it don't taste like coffee no more. It just tastes like cream. It's not even coffee. And that's the same thing that happens with all these so-called black groups and movements. All right. When you look into people like Edgar J. Hoover, whatever the hell his name is, what's his name? Forget his name. It'll come to me, Lord willing, soon. When you get into Edgar J. Hoover, he said we got to prevent the rise of a black Messiah. We cannot have somebody that's a so-called black man rising up and teaching these people who they is. We got to stop it. So when you got camps like GOCC, I think they one of the camps that let Edomites come into their congregation and deal with them, like, not to talk down on them brothers, but you going against scripture when you do that. The Bible said we ain't to do that. They cannot build with us. They cannot do the work with us. You see what happened when you tell one of them the truth. You the devil the Bible speak of, and you not getting the kingdom. They gonna turn on you the same way they did on Nehemiah and Zerubbabel and Josh. The same way they did them, they turned on them. All right. So I don't want to get off track. Let me we just read about Abba Bivens, right? In One West, and how that started in 1969. So once again, the sinews was the oppression, making us bond together. The flesh coming over us was that sense of identity. Martin Luther King, I'm black and I'm proud. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Black Panthers, American Indian movement, the Brown Berets, all of these movements was giving us a sense of identity. Then the Bible said, and someone is going to prophesy to them, and breath is going to come into them, and they shall live. Remember, to live is to keep the commandments. Who Abba Bivin came from? The commandment keepers, right? But he was like, nah, we not no Christians, or no, we don't teach Judaism. We believe in the whole Bible, right? We believe that we got to do everything the Bible teach, right? And then you had Uriah putting that 12 tribes chart together through the spirit and power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, watch this. Let's go to Sirach, right? Chapter 48, and we're going to start at verse 1. Let's identify with the Bible what we just seen happen in history, right? It says, then stood up Elias, the prophet, as fire, and his word burned like a lamp, and he brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. All right, so it's talking about Elijah, right? It says, by the word of the Lord he shut up the heaven, and also 3 times brought down fire. It says, O Elias, how wast thou honored in thy wondrous deeds? Who made glory like unto thee? Elijah was a bad man. If you ain't read about Elijah, go and do that, right? He called fire down from heaven, made it not rain, right? He was a friend of the Most High. It says, O Elijah, how was thou honored in thy wonderful deeds? And who made glory like unto thee? Who didst raise up a dead man from death, and his soul from the place of the dead, by the word of the Most High? So a lot of times we read about the miracles that Yahweh Shai did, and he wasn't the first person to do a lot of them miracles. Now, not taking any of the preeminence away from Yahweh Shai at all, but there were other men in the Bible that the Lord used, that Yahweh used. And chiefly, that was the spirit of Yahweh Shai in Elijah that allowed him to do those works, right? Let's keep going. It says, so he raised somebody from the dead by what? The word of the Most High. Now, we do that through the spirit today, right? If you dead spiritually, why? Why are you dead spiritually, right? Hold that. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 16. If we raise people from the dead all the time, right? Proverbs 21 and verse 16. It says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, somebody that left the way, like we read in Hosea 4 and 6, you left the way of understanding, right? You left the commandments. The man that does that, the sister that does that, shall remain in the congregation of the dead. You spiritually dead. Until when? Let's go stay in Proverbs. Let's read it again. Proverbs 7 and 2. Keep my commandments and live. Until you come back to the understanding, till you remember yourself that you are an Israelite and you have to keep the commandments, you're dead. You are literally dead until somebody come and breathe into you the breath of life. Right? And that's exactly what Abba Bivens did, man. That's exactly what that brother did. The Lord put it on his spirit to go out and do that. Right? Let's keep going. It says, verse 6, who brought his kings to destruction and honorable men from their bed. Who, now remember and understand, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but remember and understand something, that Elijah didn't die. Elijah was taken up by the Lord, right? The chariots came and got Elijah. And then he gave a double portion of the spirit he had to Elisha. Elijah never died, right? So keep that in mind. Let's keep going. It says, who heardest the rebuke of the Lord in Sinai, and in Horeb the judgment of vengeance, who anointest kings to take revenge, and prophets to succeed after him, like Elisha, right? Teaching other men to do the work, right? And take charge after him, who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire and in a chariot of fiery horses, who was ordained for reproofs in their times. That's what Elijah did. Went out and rebuked the prophets of Baal. They was out there cutting themselves, trying to make it. He waited all day for they God to come out and take up their sacrifice. They was out there cutting themselves, screaming and hollering, "Oh, Baal!" And that never happened. And then Elijah prayed to the Most High, and the fire came down and consumed his sacrifice and dried up all the water and burnt up all the wood, right? So he was out there rebuking them, man. And that's what we do through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says, who was ordained for reproofs in their times, to pacify the wrath of the Lord's judgment before it break forth in the fury, and to turn the hearts of the Father unto the Son, right? To turn the hearts of the Father unto the Son. Now, watch this. It says, and to turn the heart of the Father unto the Son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? Now, one thing Elijah did a lot of things, but he didn't have to go out and teach the children of Israel that their father was Jacob. He didn't do that. They all knew they was Israelites during his time. They knew that, right? From there. So who did that is the question. Who went out and taught the Israelites that, look, y'all the Israelites, y'all come from Jacob? Who did that is the question, right? I'm just saying. Let's go to the book of Malachi. Malachi chapter 4. And we're going to read verse 5. Right? It said the same thing. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. The Lord prophesied, I'm going to send the spirit of Elijah back on the earth. I'm going to send that spirit back. I never killed him, but I'm going to send that spirit back on the earth before I send my son. When you read Malachi 4, in the beginning of it, it tells you, let's go up. It's talking about judgment right here. It say, for behold, a day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. That's going into nuclear destruction, which is on the way here, right? Any day now. All right. It says, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But before that, verse 5, he said, behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now, he did do that more than once, right? Verse 6, it says, and he shall turn the heart or the mind of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. I'm going to teach Israel to go back and look at their ancestors. That's what I'm going to do, right? From there. So he said, I'm going to send that spirit back. This is how you know regeneration is real. Spirits get regenerated and get sent back onto the earth. All right. Spirits get regenerated and sent back onto the earth. He just told you, I'm going to send you Elijah the prophet. And he going to teach the children of Israel to look at their ancestors. He going to teach them that they come from the tribes of Jacob. Right? Let's go from there. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew chapter 17 and verse number 10. It says, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must come first? All right, so let's go up a little bit, right? Let's go up a little bit. Matter of fact, let's go to 9. It says, and as they came down from the mountains, Yahushua charged them, saying, tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. So he like, look, don't tell nobody. Basically, what happened up here is this is when Yahushua was transfigured, right? And they said, let's just read it, right? In verse 1. It says, after 6 days, Yahushua taketh Peter and James and John, his brother, and bringeth them up to a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, meaning he started to shape shift, right? It says, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Now, Moses represents what? The law. All right. It says, and Elias representing what? The prophets. Talking with who? Yahushua. So they basically, you got to understand the momentum and the energy of what's taking place right now. Yahushua took them up to this mountain, and then he started to transfigure. He started to shape shift and look different than he looked when they were going up to this mountain. And then appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking to him. These folks that Elijah been gone for hundreds of years and Moses for over 1,000 years. And they sitting here talking to Yahushua, right? Understand what's the magnitude of what these men are experiencing right now. It says, then verse 4, Peter and said, then answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, one for the law, one for the prophets, and one for you, Yahushua, which represent faith, right? Let's keep going. It says, while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Now, this bright cloud is a chariot. So while they were talking to Yahushua, a huge chariot came and stood over them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud said, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Why? Because he gonna break down everything when it comes to the prophets. He gonna break down to you everything when it comes to the law. Listen to Yahushua, right? It says, and when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were so afraid. You gotta imagine what's going on. They seen what we call a UFO come and stand over them. It overshadowed everything that they could see. And a voice came out of that chariot and said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Y'all listen to him. Don't build 3 tabernacles. Listen to him, right? It says verse 7, and Yahushua came and touched them and said, arise and be not afraid, right? And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Yahushua only. Moses and Elijah was gone, right? It says, and as they came down from the mountain, Yahushua charged them, saying, tell the vision to no man. Don't tell nobody what y'all seen up there. I brought y'all up there to see that for a specific reason, right? He only took 3 with him, not the whole 12. It said, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. He like, look, don't tell nobody what y'all seen until I die and I get resurrected. Right? It said, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias or Elijah must come first? Now, where the scribes get the idea that Elijah gonna come back first? We just read it. We just read it in the book of Sirach, and we read it in the book of Malachi. That was the Bible that they had back then. They didn't have the version of the Bible that we got right now. They had the Apocrypha and the Old Testament. Right? We got what we have after these events took place, right? So let's keep going. It says, and Yahushua answered them unto them, Elias or Elijah truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, right? So he telling them, look, Elijah done came. Elijah done already came. Right? Let's see let's keep reading. Let me see where I want to get there first. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. He said Elijah has already, he said Elias has come already, and they knew him not. When Elijah was here, they ain't even realized that's who that was, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Right? So he like, look, Elijah done came and they done put him to death again. They done actually put him to death for the first time. Right? It said, then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. So John the Baptist did what? He made the way plain for Yahweh to come. Now, one of the things that John the Baptist did not do or have to do was teach the nation of Israel that, look, y'all the nation of Israel. They knew that already. So what is that letting us know? That the scriptures are multifold. The scriptures are double to that which is, like it say in the book of Job. Let me get that real quick. I ain't gonna put it on the screen because I don't want to have to keep clicking out of the StreamYard like that. Let's go to the book of Job, right? Chapter 11 and verse 5. It says, but oh, that Yahweh would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would shew thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. So the scriptures are multifold. They got multiple meaning to them. They don't just mean one thing. They got multiple meaning, right? So Elijah came back as John, and then he came back as who the world calls Abba Bivens. That's who taught us that we was the children of Israel and that you belong to this tribe. You belong to this tribe. The Lord put that spirit on him. He the one who went out and prophesied that, look, y'all destroyed and y'all need to come back and keep the commandments. That was who the Lord used to do that, right? He the one who turned the fathers to the children, and he did it before the judgment of the Lord, right? So now, keep that in mind. And remember, keep that date, 1969, in mind. All right. Now, from there, let's go to the book of Revelation. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And we're going to start at verse 1. Matter of fact, let me see something. Let me get myself together. Yeah. All right, Revelation 11, and we're going to start at verse 1. And we're going to probably read to verse 6. All right, so Revelation 1 and 11, it says, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood right, saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. Right, but the court which is without the temple leave out. So he said, look, measure the temple and the people that worship there, but the court, don't measure that. Leave that out. All right. It says, measure it not, for why? It is given unto the Gentiles. That's for the nations. They can't come in here. They can't come inside the temple. And the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. All right. They shall tread it underfoot 42 months. 42 months equals up to 3.5 years. All right. So when you think about things that are whole, you think more than likely of like hundreds. All right. So you could say 300 years, and a half of that would be 50. Okay. So 350 years. All right. 3.5 years, 42 months, 3.5 years, 350 years, 1200, and I want to say it's 42 days. All right. I might be off on 1,240 something days, right? But that all equals up to 350 years. All right. Keep that in mind. It says, and I will give power unto my two witnesses. The Lord said, I'm gonna give power unto my two witnesses, right? It says, and they shall prophesy 2,203 score days, which is 1,000. They shall prophesy 1,203 score days, Salakia, which is equal to 1,260 days. 1,260 days is what 3.5 years is. All right, Salakia for that. 3.5 years is 1,260 days. Okay. 3.5 years is equal to 350. 3.5 years is the same as 350 years. All right. It says they're going to prophesy clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the Lord God of the earth. He said, those are the two olive trees. All right. My two witnesses. Now, Moses came from what tribe? Levi. All right. Now, it's not stated verbatim, but it is highly supposed that Elijah come from Northern Kingdom. All right. He's from one of the Northern Kingdom tribes. So that would be Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, right? Or the law and the prophets, right? I will give power to my two witnesses. Who the witnesses? I ain't going to put it up there. I'm going to get it, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's go and see who the witnesses are. Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 10. It says, ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. Now, who is it talking about? Let's go to verse 1. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not. So he talking about this. This is about Jacob. Jacob is the chosen, right? Let's get it. Let's go to Isaiah 41. Somebody might say that ain't enough. Isaiah 41 and verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. So when it say in Isaiah 43, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant, whom I have chosen, that's talking about Jacob. So the witnesses whom he gave power to are the two witnesses, Judah and Israel, that come from Jacob. All right. It says, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days, which is the same as 3.5 years, 40 and 2 months, or 350 years, 3.5, 3 whole 100 years, and half 50 years. Right? It says these are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth. Right? Now, what's the fire that's proceeding out of their mouth? Because Christians teach that they just gonna be able to just blow fire at everybody. Nah, that ain't what that's talking about. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. What's the fire proceeding out of their mouth? Jeremiah chapter, I want to say it's 23. Yep. Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 29. It says, is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? All right. The rock that is breaking in pieces right now is the mountain, the government. All right. So it's telling you here that if any man will hurt them, the hurt that they doing to us is oppressing us. Fire proceedeth out of their mouth. The more they oppress us, the more we want to go out and teach this Bible. That fire come out of our mouth and what? Devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. So the Lord telling us how we gonna fight them, how we gonna kill them, with the power and the fire of the word of God. That's how we gonna kill them, not by picking up weapons. We're not gonna wipe out that whole race of demons like that. We got to use the Bible, right? It says these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, right? Rain meaning they have no understanding. They're gonna be confused because this is what Babylon. They have no water. It says they have power over waters to turn them into blood. We bring plagues on this place, just like it did in Egypt, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. That's why you see this stuff happening. Another plane just crashed in Philly. You got planes falling out the sky, running into each other. You got the country on fire, 10,000 more acres done spread. The fire done spread in LA. We causing these plagues to come on the earth through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Because you got brothers out here teaching the law and the prophets, right? As often as they will. It says, matter of fact, do I want to come? Yeah, let's keep going. It says, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. Right? So the Lord said, look, as y'all keep teaching, after they have finished their testimony that they finished is the curses. We've been under them curses. Y'all been trying down the land of the Gentiles. And now it's time for the beast to start killing us, making war against us, right? And the Lord say he gonna overcome us and he's going to kill us, right? From there, let me get that something on power to shut up heaven, that it rain not. Let's go to the book of James. Go to James chapter 5 and verse number 17. It says, Elias was a man subject to like passions as we are. All right. Elijah went through what we went through. He had temptation just like we did. It says, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain, and it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. Right. So that's what we doing through the spirit. Right? We pray if it don't rain on something for long enough, what's gonna happen to the people over there? What's gonna happen to the animals? What's gonna happen to that place? It's gonna catch on fire, they're gonna starve and die out, right? It says, but then when he prayed that it rained, the Lord gave rain and it brought forth fruit. We praying that the Lord raise up our nation. That's why we have to continue to do the work. We gotta keep going out and teaching. Right? We got to keep going out and teaching. Let's say, brethren, if any of you do err from this truth and one convert him, let him know that he which converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death and shall hide a multitude of his sins, man. If anybody err from the truth and you go back and rebuke that brother and he come on back, the Lord say that you covered a multitude of your sins and his sins. That's what Elijah did. That's what we doing through the spirit, right? Let's deal with the 2 olive trees that it's talking about, right? Up here in verse 4. Let's go to Jeremiah 11 and verse 16. It says, the Lord called thy name a green olive tree, fair and good and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken off. For the Lord of hosts that planted thee have pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, which they have done against themselves to provoke me to anger in offering incense unto Baal. So that's going, them two olive trees, like I said, that's northern kingdom and southern kingdom. The two witnesses is northern kingdom and southern kingdom. We witness to the fact that the Bible said the Israelites was going to be under curses. We're witnesses of that. Right? And now we finished our testimony. We done finished it, right? The curses, the Lord lift. Now, think the Lord don't just, and it's just done. He's lifting the curses up off of us. That's why you see strong marriages now in Israel. That's why you see brothers putting the guns and stopping killing each other, stopping the drugs. That's why you see stuff like that happening in our nation. The curses are being lifted off of us as a nation, right? Because we finished our testimony, us living out them curses, right? It said once we do that down here, it says when they have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit, that's that fourth beast, right? That's that fourth beast shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. And they starting to do that right now. All right, let's keep going. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, the valley of death. Remember, we went over that earlier, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. This is spiritual Sodom and spiritual Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. The image of our Lord was crucified here, right? The message of our Lord was crucified here. It says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, or 3.5 years, or 350 years. See, it's using the same numbers, but it's talking about different dispensations of time. It wasn't 3 days and a half, literally. We were spiritually dead for 350 years. From 1619, 350 years later was when? 1969. That's why I went over that in the Wikipedia about the commandment keepers, about one West Camp. That's when that started. That was Elijah, that the Lord put the spirit back in that brother to go out and start teaching us who he was, right? It said our dead bodies, what Ezekiel saw, us destroyed, the dry bones, was going to be like that for 350 years and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. Meaning what? They like seeing us destroyed. They like seeing the nation of Israel destroyed like that, not knowing who he is. It say, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another. Here go a slave boy for Christmas. Here go a little slave nigga girl for your birthday, right? Because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. The law and the prophets torment them. Why? Because they ain't the people. They not the people, right? Verse 11, it says, and after 3 days and a half, after 350 years, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. That's what's happening right now. We standing up on our feet right now because why? The spirit of life from God is entering into our people. Northern kingdom and southern kingdom waking up. You got both tribes waking up, prophesying against these devils, man. And great fear is falling upon. Now we got to deport them. Get the rest of them out of here. Where Judah, Benjamin, and Levi chiefly is teaching the commandments and the faith in Yahweh. Get them away from that. We don't need the rest of the, go lock them up in Guantanamo Bay. Not a regular prison, Guantanamo Bay, where we can torture them, where we can hide them and keep in secret what we doing to them from the rest of the eyes of the world. That's why they doing that. They trying to slow down, but it's not. It's like trying to stop a speeding train, man. You know how hard it is to stop a train once it get going? It's extremely hard. A lot of stuff they not gonna be able to stop it. They not gonna be able to stop it, man. It says, and they heard, but before they get ready to do this and kill us all, and then it says a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. That's salvation coming in, right? But I digress. Let me go now from there. So I did all that. Now I'm finna go to Revelation 13. Now I want to go to Revelation 13. So now you see, hopefully, Lord willing, how the Lord sent that spirit of Elijah back on the earth twice so far. He could have it back again, right? I don't know, but the Lord definitely, that's a spirit that the Lord loved to send and Lord to use on this earth, right? Say demons be attacking your sleep and attacking your faith and relationship. Well, that's their job, man. Their job is to attack you, right? The demons were created for that purpose, man. I don't want to get off topic too much, right? But I'll deal with that real quick. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. The Lord uses these spirits for his pleasure, man. To do it, to serve a purpose, right? So if he using these spirits to attack your relationships, matter of fact, let's get this in the book of Mark. A lot of people's relationships gonna get attacked in these last days, right? That just means the Bible is a true book. Let's go to the book. Matter of fact, I want the one. Matter of fact, let me get a couple precepts on that. Right. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 8 and verse 28. It says, when Yahushua, and when he saw Yahushua, now this is dealing with the man that was cutting himself, right? That was dwelling in the tombs and stuff like that. It said, and when he saw Yahushua, he cried out and fell down before him and said with the loud voice said, what have I to do with thee, Yahushua, son of God, most high? I beseech thee, torment me not. Right? So these demons answer to the most high God and his son, Yahushua. That's who they answer to. They can't do nothing unless they get the go ahead from the Lord. Right? So these demons are used for the pleasure of the Lord. The Lord created good and evil. Right? Good is set against evil. So you got to understand, you got to do some self-examination, of course. First and foremost, we all do. Ask yourself, do you have anything in your house? Is there anything that you're doing that's promoting these things that happen to you in your relationship? As far as your relationship, the Lord didn't come to make everybody's relationships good and all peaceful, right? Let's get that in the book. Matter of fact, let's go to the book. Let me look for it real quick. No, it's in Mark. Yeah. Nah, not that one. I don't want the one in Matthew. That might be the one I have to get though. Yeah, let me go to Matthew real quick. The Lord didn't come so that everybody could have peace and prosperity in all their relationships, man. He didn't come for that, man. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 39. Matter of fact, yeah, let me get the one in Mark. I like that one more. Mark 8. You go to Mark 8. I like the way he said over there. Mark 8 and verse that ain't the one I'm looking looking for either. Hold on. I got you, bro. Bear with me. Luke, not Mark. Luke. Luke chapter 12. This is the one I like the way this one said. Yeah, Luke 12 and verse 47. It say, matter of fact, verse 51, it says, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell ye nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. All right. So the Lord said that already. He said, I ain't come so that everybody could be peaceful in their household and their relationships. Right now, if your faith is being attacked, you know, that's the thing where you gotta build yourself up by the hearing of the word. Right. Let's go to Romans real quick. Let me get a couple precepts, and then I'm gonna get back to the lesson. Right. Let's go to Romans chapter 10 and verse 17. It says, so then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So the Bible tells us we get our faith by hearing the word of God. Now, coming to class like this or classes that other camps might teach, you know, whatever your spirit bear witness with, that's a good way to build up your faith. That's a good way to increase your faith. All right. Matter of fact, so it says faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Let's go to the book of Jude. All right. Jude chapter 1 and verse 20. It says, but ye beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. All right. So it says, ye beloved, we should build up ourselves. All right. We got to build up ourselves and our faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. Now, what does that mean? All right, let's go to Acts to see what it means. Let's go to Acts chapter 20, and we're going to read verse 32. This is how you build your faith up. It says, and now, brethren, I commend you to God and to the word of his grace, which is able to build you up and to give you an inheritance among all them which are sanctified. So you get your spirit built up by the word. You gotta stay in this word. We can't neglect it, not trying to accuse you of that. But if your faith is being attacked, you definitely got to pay more attention to that. Give more earnest heed. Let me get one more for you. Let's go to the book of Hebrews and get chapter 1. Right? If your faith is being attacked, it means it means that you're starting to maybe like doubt certain things, man, or being tugged in a direction that you don't want to go or that you know you shouldn't go. Right? So this is Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed, dedicate the more majority of your time and your energy. It says, to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. So we have to, each and every one of us, myself included. I get times when my faith is definitely attacked, but I have to remember these precepts like this is telling us what we should do. You got to go back to the basics. Go back to the things you was doing when you first got drawn to the Most High, right? Get a more earnest heed to the things which you had heard, the Bible, lest at any time we should let them slip, right? Because Satan will figure out things and place things in your life to make you slip from the things that you should do, which is keep the commandments and the faith in his son. Yahweh Shah, he'll play, that's his job, right? His whole job is to figure out how to get you out of this truth. Right. So let me get one more, and then I'm gonna move on. Let's go to the book of John. That's his job, is to come and take these things from your mind, man. John chapter 10. right? In verse 1, it says, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. So basically, that's saying you can't get to the Lord Yahweh unless you go through Yahweh Shah, his son. It says, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. Right? The door is your mind. It says, to him the porter openeth. A porter is somebody that opens and closes doors. So that's you. You are the one who got the ability to open and close your mind. You got control over your mind, whether you know it or not. You decide what goes in your mind and what goes out your mind. Right? It says, and the sheep heareth his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them. That's like when Yahweh Shah said, behold, let me get that in Revelation and I'm gonna come back there. That's like when Yahweh Shah said, look, I'm at the door, right? Let's get that in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20. He says, behold, I stand at the door. The door is your mind. Yahweh Shah standing at the door. How? This Bible sitting right there on your desk, bookshelf, wherever it is, in your lap, wherever it is. The Bible, you got the Bible. That's the spirit of the Lord, right? He said, I'm standing at the door, right? He says, and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me, right? So he'll come and deal with you, but you got to open up your mind. That's how you protect your faith, right? And Lord willing, we can do a class that go deeper in the context with that, but that's how we all how to protect our faith, man. Open up that door to the Lord. If you keep it closed, then that allows room for the devil to attack you. And your relationships, you do what you can with that, but sometimes the Most High don't want certain people around you. Sometimes he's doing things actively to drive certain people away. You got to ask yourself, is the thing you asking that person to do against the Bible? Is the thing that the person asking you to do against the Bible? If the answer is yes, then y'all don't need, if one of you is trying to serve the Lord and the other one ain't, then y'all don't need to be around each other. That relationship needs to get attacked, right? But if y'all both steadfast in the word and trying to do what the Most High say, y'all both doing that, well, then that's the time for y'all to both build yourself up together, right? Both of y'all should be building yourself together, and even separately building yourselves up, because you got to have your own relationship with the Most High, right? It says, feel like it was friends that started everything. Yeah, but friends will get in your relationships, but the demons use them too. Spirits hop on and off of people, so the demons can use anybody to accomplish the purpose that they're looking for, right? They just need a body to dwell in. They just need somebody that they can dwell in, that they inhabit it to use to do the bidding of Satan. That's what they need, right? Without that, they say they seek in dry places, meaning they out in the earth and they need a body. All right. So, like I said, the way to fight against all that is to stay in this word. Keep yourself in this Bible. The longer you stay away from this, the stronger your flesh is gonna get. All right. And that's as I'm saying this to you, I'm saying it to me as well. Nobody's exempt from that wisdom. We have to keep ourselves in this word, man, or we just opening ourselves up to whatever Satan want to do to us, right? But that's why we're doing classes like this, man. That's the as much, it's not so much as for the people who might be listening. I don't, that's good, but this is for me more than anybody. It's to make myself be in this word. As I'm reading it to y'all, I'm reading it to myself so that I can keep myself strong, right? So let's go back. Let's get back on what we was doing, right? So Lord willing, that helps you, King. And that Lord willing, that helps you, man. So understand when we left off in Revelation 11, right? Elijah, just like Elijah, right? He overcame the false prophets of Baal. He overcame the demons, right? That was in his time by the what? The word, by praying unto the Most High, right? That's how we gonna do it, the same way, right? So understand that once we finish our testimony, going through these curses, the devil is gonna try to put us to death, and he's starting to do that right now, right? So let's go to Revelation 13 now and deal with that. We're gonna start at verse 1. Let me go there in my Bible. Now, we read a lot of things before we came here. If you didn't if you weren't here in the beginning of the class, some of it may not make sense. It may do make sense to you, right? But we talked about a lot of this stuff. So Daniel, what Daniel seen in Daniel chapter 7, it go along with what Revelation 13 is saying. So if you understand what Daniel is saying in Daniel chapter 7, then you can understand a lot more of what's going on in Revelation with John, right? The Revelator. So Revelation 13, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. So it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, just like Daniel did, right? He basically, and I was looking at the multitudes of people. That's what the sea is. Isaiah 17 and 12. I stood upon the sands of the sea. I looked at the multitudes of people and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, 7 heads, 10 horns. Okay. Your 7 heads is your 10 horns is the European nations, all right, and America, extending from the beast. Okay, let's keep going. It says, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. All right, the name of blasphemy, lies. That's what they stand for. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. So this is a beast that Daniel didn't see. Daniel didn't see this beast. He said, this beast that I'm seeing is like a leopard. Now, who did the leopard represent in Daniel's vision? Greece. All right. Greece was the leopard. Now, what did we read that Greece was doing? What did Greece want everybody to do? Let's get a refresher. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 1. What did Greece want everybody to do? It said it was like unto a leopard. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. In other words, we need to have a democracy. We need a democracy. All right. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. And so all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. It's like you look at Chinese people. You look at Xing Zhang Yun, whatever his name is, and he got on a suit and a tie with a flag on his lapel. He get that from America. Moab got deep, rich history that they normally would be proud of, that they normally would be exalting. But what America goes around and they make everybody leave their laws. They make you leave your laws and consort with them and keep theirs. Keep democracy, or we're going to put sanctions on you. Allow homosexuals to get married, or we're going to put tariffs and sanctions on you. Do these things, or we're gonna penalize you for it, right? So that's what it means when it says it was like unto a leopard. The way it was shaped, the form of it was like a leopard, right? It says, and his feet, now it's talking about his feet, were as the feet of a bear. Now, who was the bear? That was your Persians, all right? Your Persians and your Medes. Now, why I say the feet was like a bear, right? What did Persia and the Medes do? They had a dual empire. 2 parts, 2 main components to their empire. Just like you got 2 main components to democracy, Democrat and Republican. It's the same. That's how they move. You move with your feet. So the feet, the way they move was like Persian and Media. All right, it's hopeless coming together for you. And the way that they think was we want everybody to be one, right? It said in his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Now, what do you do with your mouth? You speak. Now, who was the lion? That was Babylon. Now, what did Babylon do? Right? Worship false gods. We don't teach everybody to worship false gods, right? We want everybody to be one, right? That's your lion. It says, let's keep going. Holidays and such, right? This is the key. It says, and the dragon gave him his power. So this kingdom, this beast that John the Revelator is seeing, he's saying whatever this thing is, it got its power from the devil. The reason that it can rule, it say, and his seat and great authority, all of that came from the devil. Every bit of that came from the devil, right? Power from Satan. Let's keep going. Let me get there in my Bible real quick. It got its power from the devil. It says, verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. Now, keep in mind the fourth beast that Daniel saw was Rome. All right. The fourth beast that it saw was Rome. Okay. Now, when it says it saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, that's Rome in 193 AD. All right. A man named Septimius Severus, I might be saying it wrong, Septimius Severus conquered Rome in 193 AD. Right. And that's when you had I want to say the Holy Roman Empire after that, where you had Christianity being established. All right. That's when that happened. It said, I seen one of his wounds as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Now, when did the wound get healed? All right. Keep in mind, it was wounded to death in 193 AD. Right. It was healed in the Renaissance era. The Renaissance era took place in the 1400s, right? 1492, chiefly with Ferdinand and Elizabeth and Columbus. Them people was in Rome, right? They allowed him, or Spain is in Rome, right? But they allowed Columbus to go over here and find this place, all right? So after the rebirth or the Renaissance period, you had it extended into what? France, then you had Spain, then you had Britain, and then America, right? That's what came from Rome. Spain, France, Spain, Britain, and then America. Those were the powers. When in 1776, who did America fight against to get their freedom? Britain. That's where they came from. Before that, you had Spain. All right. Then before them, you had the France. All right. And before them, you had Rome. All right. So let's keep going. It says, verse 3 again, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. The whole world followed after this beast. It says, and they worshiped the dragon. This beast convinced everybody in the world to worship. When I say everybody, I mean countries, not every single little person in the whole wide world. That the Bible ain't talking about that. Even when you talk about something like the mark of the beast, it's not talking about every single little person in the whole wide world. 8 single billion people in the world. They couldn't get 8 billion people to take the jab. So you mean tell me you're gonna get 8 billion people to get a microchip installed in them? Nah, it don't work like that. It's talking about countries, provinces of people. When it say the whole world wondered after the beast and they worship the dragon. which gave power unto the beast. This whole nation of people worshiping the devil. They got them celebrating holidays and Christmas and so what, and so on. Right? It says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who can make war with this nation? Now, what do you use in war? You use a sword, right? Whose blessing was the sword? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 27. Why can't nobody make war with this beast, with these people, right? That's ironic. The Lord got to use them to kill themselves because their blessing is the sword, right? Genesis chapter 27 and verse 40. It said, I'm gonna start at 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. You're gonna live some of everywhere, right? In some of the best places. And by thy sword shall thou live. By the sword, you're going to rule. By the sword, you're going to be strong. That's why I say here, who is able to make war with him? That's how they know how to build it. They couldn't beat the so-called Native Indians until they built what? The Gatling gun. Before that, we were tearing their ass up with them arrows and spears. They couldn't mess with Gad and Reuben, but they built that Gatling gun, right? So whatever weapon you have, understand they got something strong. They ain't gonna release what you got to the public unless they know they got something even stronger, right? So that was Esau's blessing, the sword. That's why I say, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Can't nobody beat them, right? Who can make war with him, right? It say verse 5. It say, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, the media and blasphemies, lies. They media tell lies. Oh, we gonna invade this country because they terrorists, right? Like with Gaddafi. Now, when you read about Gaddafi, right? Oh, I want to say that was over there in Libya. The people that he was ruling over, Gaddafi gave everybody free. Now, we don't support Gaddafi, right? But he gave everybody free health care. He made it so that if you got married, you had a house for free. He was building up that nation of people. But America painted him as a terrorist and a murderer and all these things so that the public would support them going over there and killing him. And then what they did after that, went over there and set up democracy. That's how they move, man. That's like how Rome is. They're an extension of Rome, right? It says, and there was given him a mouth, the media, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. 42 months, 3.5 years, 350 years, 1,260 days. All right. So from 1969, from 1619 to 1969, they had the power to just rule without any type of interruption. Now, from the time we went out and started teaching this Bible correctly, that power began to diminish. All right, 1969, also the year that they went to the moon. The Lord didn't want them doing that. They ain't want them doing that, right? Let's get that in the book of Obadiah. He didn't want them up there. All right, Obadiah chapter 1, all right, and verse, I want to say it's verse 5. Verse 4, it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Now, what do America call themselves? The eagle. When they landed on the moon, what did they say? The eagle has landed. They know this stuff, man. It's the average Negro that don't know. It's the average Negro that they can't go up there. They just told you they got their power from the devil. That's how they able to split atoms and make rocket fuel and figure out the trajectory that the rocket need to go to land right there on the. That's how they know, because they got their power from the devil. That's who is tell you that the dragon gave. Let me go back up to verse 3. It says verse 2. It says, and the dragon gave him his power. Satan gave him that power to be able to set a space station up there. Come on, man. That ain't coincidence. Satan gave him that knowledge and intuition to know how to do that. But it says, though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence. The word thence means from that point, from the moment you take your ass up there and say the eagle has landed, one small step for man, one giant step for man, one small step for man, whatever the hell they said when they went up there, from thence, from the time you go up there, it says, from thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. That was in 1969. It all goes together. The whole thing go together, right? So that was the start of the downfall of them folks, man. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go back to Revelation, right on the screen, in verse 6 now. It says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. How do they do that? To blaspheme. Blasphemy is lies. It says to blaspheme his name, right? To blaspheme his name, meaning what? We the 12 tribes. His name is Jesus, Yahweh, right? To change the name. Why? Let's get that. Why would they want to allow his name? Why would they want to change his name to something we had to dig and search and find and figure out what it was? Why would they want? Why would anybody do such a thing? Right? Let's go to the book of Malachi. I'm reading it from my Bible. Salaki again. It says Malachi 1:14. It says, but cursed be the deceiver, which have in his flock a male, and voweth a sacrifice unto the Lord, a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith Yahweh of hosts. My name is dreadful among the heathen. They scared of the name Yahweh. They scared of the name Yahweh Shai. So you mean to tell me when they translated the Bible into English, they're going to put the right name in there? No, they're going to take it out. They're going to put Lord, they're going to put God, and they're going to put Jesus with a letter J that came out in the 1500s, which his name couldn't have been. And then people, oh, well, it's Yeshua. They going to make up another. These folks trying to hide something. When you hide something, you hide it behind this door. Then you got a door behind that door that hides something. Then if you ain't looking hard enough, you will miss this whole door up under here. They hiding it. They don't want you saying the name Yahweh Shai, right? They don't want you doing that. That's why certain camps that don't use those names, they the most popular camps. I wonder why. It ain't no knock against them brothers, you know, but I just wonder why the camps that don't use those names, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, they use Jesus and Yah and Yahuwah and Yeshua. I wonder why those camps are the most popular. Let's go back to Revelation 13. I just wonder why. So that's how they blaspheme his name, right? It says, and his tabernacle, right? The tabernacle is the 12 tribes, right? It says, and them that dwell in heaven. How they blaspheme them that dwell in heaven? How they lie on them? By painting all the angels, little naked white people with wings on their back and doing that and pointing at each other with their penis all out. That's blaspheming them that dwell in heaven. Because those angels are dark, melanated people. All right. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. It was given unto him to make war with the saints. All right. How did they do that? With something, you had a man named Pope Nicholas V who put out a papal bull, all right, which is like a law, and it was called Dum Diversis, basically saying that anybody that ain't a Christian, we can put them in slavery forever. That's what he did. That was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, over all nations of people. Not every little individual people, because you got people in the jungles and stuff in over there in Africa that don't know nothing about what's going on nowhere. But as nations and blocks of earth, when you had the race for Africa, right, where they chopped up Africa, the French got some, the Americans got some, the Spanish got some. You had King Leopold, one of the most wicked Edomites in the history of civilization, that was going out there in the Congo and getting the rubber and cutting people arms and feet and noses off if they didn't pick enough cotton and get enough rubber. Them people had power. It was giving them power to do that from the Pope, right? They was given that power. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, right? So everybody in the world worship them with that false image of who the world calls Jesus Christ. They worshiping him, right? Let's keep going. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So that's what the saints is waiting on. We waiting for the folks that put us in captivity to go into captivity. We waiting on that, right? We waiting on the Lord to kill them like they killed us, right? It says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? So that's the same beast that you got right here, right? It's the same beast. It said it had two horns like a lamb. What's that? Christianity. All right. So this solely focusing on America right now. It says, and it spake as a dragon. It speak like the devil, because the devil gonna tell you don't keep them laws. You ain't gotta. You can eat that pork. You ain't gotta wear, sis. You can wear them pants. You ain't gotta cover your head. You ain't gotta wear no fringes on. That law really done away with. That's speaking like a damn dragon right there, right? It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. It moved and got power just like Rome do. It say, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. They call, it said, whose deadly wound was healed, right? So it causes everybody that's in the earth to worship Rome, to move and believe like Rome tell the Christianity, all right, whose deadly wound was healed, right? It says, and he doeth great wonders, drop atomic bombs on people and blow them up. That's a great wonder. Go to the moon and land on it, put a space station up there. That's a great wonder. So that he maketh fire, nukes come down from heaven, the sky, on the earth in the sight of men, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. All right. That's what they do. Right. It says, so this beast adapted three main beasts into itself: Babylon, Greece, and Persia. All right. It adapted all of that into itself. Okay. Now, from there, let's go to the book of 1 Peter. Let's go to 1 Peter. So with all that being said, we know what we working against. Keep in mind, when we read in Daniel 9:25, it said that the temple of God would be built in troublous times. All right. So we building up the temple of God right now. All right. We building that temple right now. right? First, before I go with 1 Peter, let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16. All right, it says that the temple would be built in troublous times. We're gonna have a lot working against us while we building this temple. It says, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. That was the purpose of us building an actual physical temple, so that the Spirit of God would have a place to reside, because everything else was unholy and defiled. So the temple was kept clean, undefiled, so that the Spirit of God would be able to go in there, right? But now he's telling us, look, you are the temple of God. Your body is the temple of God. It says, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. So as we building this temple up, right? Like the brother had a question about, some things about being attacked spiritually. Well, as you're building your temple up, as you strengthening yourself, you're going to get attacked. You're going to be doing that in troublous times, right? That's the spirit, man, because it kind of going into what I'm finna go into now, right? So let me see. Oh, this is fire, man. This is a dope chapter. All right, but I'm gonna go on, right? Let's go to 1 Peter. So understand, we the temple of God, and that the temple, it said, would be built in troublous times. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2, and we're gonna go to verse 5, and we're gonna read through 9. All right, it says, ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, right? So each and every one of us make up a block, a stone, a brick. All right, so that's when we get the expression, put your brick in, put yourself in, get yourself right, so that you can add to the nation being built up. All right, ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. That's why I said earlier, we raise people from the dead spiritually now. We heal people who are spiritually sick now. We lay hands on you spiritually, right? We're not carnally or physically raising people up that have died, right? But we are spiritually doing these things, the same works that Yahweh Shah did. It says, wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, right? So the chief, when you start a building, you have to start it out with a cornerstone. That's the stone that everything else is built up around. The cornerstone for the temple of God is Yahweh Shah. He's what everything is built around. You are going to build yourself up around how he was. That's why he gave us an example, right? Elect, precious, and he have that believeth, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. When you believe on him, when you move how he moved, when you teach what he taught, you can't confound us with this Bible. We got the answers in here, right? All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. It says, unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious. But unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, right? So you had people that were builders, the scribes and the Pharisees disallowed, right? The same is made the head of the corner. They didn't want Yahweh Shah coming and being the Messiah. Why? We read that earlier. He gonna come and take away our place from the Romans that the Romans gave us. If everybody believe him, the Romans ain't gonna believe us no more, right? So they disallowed Yahweh Shah, right? They didn't want him to be our king, right? Let's keep going. It says, verse what I left off. Yeah, 8. It says, and a stone of stumbling. They stumbled at the fact that Yahweh Shah was the Messiah. They couldn't get, man, you mean to tell, I just can't get with that. I just can't get with the same way people stumble at him today. They stumble at him today the same way, right? It says, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word. The same people who really don't want to keep the law, you ain't gonna want to do what Yahweh Shah said. You ain't gonna want to do that. right? When Yahweh Shai say, forgive your brother, your sister 70 times 7, you're going to stumble at that because it's something else in the word that you stumbling at, right? Why? Because you disobedient. Come down to being obedient or disobedient. Whereunto also they were appointed. Them people was appointed to be the way that they is. They appointed your mama, she appointed to not want to listen and come into this truth. Your husband, he appointed to scoff at the word and say, oh, why you don't eat no bacon with me this weekend? They appointed to do that, right? It says, but ye, y'all are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. The question is, how do we do that? How do we show forth the praises of him that called us out of darkness, that brought us into this truth? By waking up the next brother, by waking up the next sister, by continuing to do the work, even in troublous times, even though we working in captivity, right? Let me show you something. Let me get this in the book. Even though we working in captivity, remember when Cyrus gave us permission to go and start building, right? That's like saying, okay, you got freedom of speech. You can go out and freedom of religion. That's the same type of thing, right? When Cyrus gave them permission, they couldn't even start doing it in his life. They had to wait till Darius came, right? Let's go to the book. Let's go to Ezra, chapter 9. It say that we should show forth the praises of him that brought us out of darkness into his marvelous light, right? Let's go to Ezra, chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 1. It says, now, when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. We didn't want to be separate. We ain't separate ourselves from them folks. The Lord, we can't build the way we supposed to build if we ain't separated from them. We gotta get from around them, right? It says, for they have taken their daughters for themselves and their sons and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this church pass, meaning the leaders is the main ones doing it, right? So we had to separate from them in order to really get to the nitty gritty. They can't come in our congregation. They can't come in this camp. They can't go keep Feast of Tabernacles with us. They can't. They can't do it, right? Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of let me see. Let me go to 2 Corinthians. All right. 2 Corinthians. The Lord said, separate from them because we already in troublous times. We don't need to be amongst them like that no more than what we got to. Right. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. All right, get straight to the point. It says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Come from out of their ways. Stop trying to live like them. You not no American. You an Israelite. Come from out of their ways, man. It says, if you do that, I will receive you and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. We got to come from among them, come from out of their ways, right? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to, let me see where I want to go. Yeah, let's go to Ezra. Let's go back to Ezra. Matter of fact, let's go to Ezra's So the point that I'm trying to drive home right now that is that even though they like, look, if you anti-Semitic, you getting deported, Guantanamo Bay. Even though we seeing these things happen and being spoken to us right now, we still gotta build. We still gotta do the work, right? Ezra chapter 3 and verse 10. We'll know when it's time to stop. When you got to be a pilgrim on the earth, you know, then it's probably time to stop. You just worry about you just worry about, you know what I'm saying, protecting yourself and your family at that point, right? That'll be a famine of the word. But until then, we got the work got to go on. It says, and when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinances of David, the king of Israel, right? So the builders laid the foundation, right? We had men like Abba Bivens, Ariah, right? Yahweh. We had men like that the Lord used to lay the foundation, the commandment keepers, One West, right? ISUPK, right? For us, smaller camps like New Wine Congregation, IUIC, WFI, Sakari, all these brothers laid the foundation for us. And Lord willing, the Lord use us to lay a foundation for people after us, right? So it says, let me see if I want to keep going. Right? Let me go to First Peter again. Remember, so let me read 10 again. Salaki. It says, and when the builders laid the foundation of the temple, so the builders laid the foundation, right, of the temple. Remember, we the temple. So carnally, physically speaking, they laid the physical foundation to the temple. Us in the spirit are laying foundation to the temple, laying down bricks, putting our bodies first, showing people how to do it, right? You got to understand and think of it as if you yourself are a brick and you put your brick in, meaning you put yourself up there. Look, I'll sacrifice and be a brick. And then this person should come up and lay themselves and be a brick until they look around and the kingdom of God is established, man. Right? Until they look around and that's what they see, right? So let me get this real quick. Let me go to Daniel. I love this precept, man. It said that the kingdom is gonna be established in the days of these kings. It's not gonna be when they want to kill us for keeping the word of God. It's not gonna be no doubt in nobody's mind who the Israelites are at that point. Everybody gonna know that's the man of sin, Esau, Amalek. That's the man of sin. They the devil the Bible speak of, and that we've been the children of God this whole time. It's gonna be known, right? Verse Daniel 2 and 44, it says, and in not after, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, right? Which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms and shall stand forever. So the kingdom gonna be set up in the days of these kings, meaning what? You gonna put your brick in the days of these kings. You gonna get yourself together in the days of these kings. As a nation, we gonna repent in the days of these kings. They gonna see it. You understand? They're gonna see it. That's how they're gonna know who to attack and who to kill and who to target, right? They're gonna know that because we gonna be getting ourselves together, right? So we have to do our job as leaders, as princes in Israel. We got to make sure we doing our job, which is going and teaching the nation, right? Building the nation up, showing our people what these scriptures mean, right? Let's go to the book of First Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 3 and verse number 10. Right? It says, according, matter of fact, let me start at verse. this is let me start at 1, man, because all this goes into how you should build, man. It says, and I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal. Right. So Paul's letting them know it's certain things that I've taught y'all. I couldn't go into the spirit and show y'all what the spiritual significance of it was. I had to only show you the carnal way or physical way, the way that you could see and understand, right? Why? Even as unto babes in Christ, y'all just learned, y'all just got into the truth. So it's like that. I can speak to that, being somebody the Lord used as a leader in the nation of Israel. It's times where I might have wanted to teach a certain lesson or go into a certain topic and couldn't do it, like this. The spirit prevented me from doing it because I know, it's a precept that say that in Proverbs. Let me get that. Yeah. Proverbs 27. I'm gonna read it. I ain't gonna put it on the screen, but Proverbs 27 and verse 17. Not 17, 23. Right? It says, be thou diligent to know the state of thy flock and look well to thy herds. Right? So as a leader, as a teacher, you gotta be diligent to know the state of your flock. You gotta understand what type of congregation you got. If you somebody the Lord is using to be a teacher, to be somebody that's building, you gotta pay attention to your congregation. If you got a young congregation, people that just came in the truth, a lot of that, and you don't want to be in the book of Daniel so much or in Revelations like that, because they still need the milk. You need to focus more on teaching them the laws, right? So that's what Paul said. He says, I have fed you with milk and not with meat. I didn't come to y'all breaking down deep, dark parables. That's why early on, I didn't understand that. I was going into deeper things, but then I realized, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, like, man, we got a young congregation. A lot of the people that listen to us, they just came in the truth, right? They ain't been in there that long. So we focus a lot, and majority of what I teach and what the brothers I'm around teach is the law, the milk, the basic things of the Bible, right? It says, not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it. Somebody that's been in the truth a year, 3 years, a lot of times can't bear strong meat like that. Dark, the stuff that we've been going over in this class. It's a little heavier. Not saying that it's just so heavy, but it's a lot heavier than what I know I normally teach, right? It says, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. So that might be going over a lot of your heads right now, right? But that's okay. It says, for ye are yet carnal. For whereas this among you, envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men? So Paul talking to the church of Corinth, he like, look, y'all ain't grown enough to get deep stuff. Y'all still fighting and arguing over stupid stuff, right? It says, for while one said, I am of Paul, and another, I am of Apollos, are ye not carnal? Like, because they had basically, Paul, my favorite teacher. I don't come to class and let Paul teach it. You know what? I don't come to class unless Apollos teach it. I just like law school. I just like class on Sunday. You had that kind of stuff going on in the church of Corinth. But look, it says, who then is Paul? And who is Apollos? That's the type of mindset we try to take on at New Wine, Congregation of Israel. Who is Nahshon? I ain't nobody but a vessel when the Lord want me to be, right? It's not us, right? It says, but ministers by whom ye believe. We just the vessels who the Lord sent to you to teach you what this Bible say. and he can use anybody, right? It says, even as the Lord gave to every man, I have planted, Apollos watered, meaning I introduced you to the truth. Then this brother taught a class and he watered you. He kept pouring it on, right? It says, but God gave the increase. And that's what we have to have faith in as leaders and teachers, as builders. We have to understand that it ain't us, right? It's the Lord that's going to increase the nation. We just got to do our job. Just get up and do the work, right? It says, so then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. We ain't nothing, right? The Most High is in charge of who gonna come in this truth. That's why we don't chase people down at camp no more. Hey, you got a minute? You know, okay, cool. It ain't for you, right? It ain't for you. We not worrying about numbers or nothing like that. We just doing what we called to do, right? It says, now he that planteth and he that watereth are one. We the same, right? Because we speak the same thing. It says, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. The Most High see the work that you doing, right? Now I'm talking to you leaders, you men, you teachers, right? That's doing the work and leading in the forefront. Every man gonna get a reward according to his labor, whether you sincere or whether you ain't sincere. The Lord know what you doing and why you doing it. It says, for we are laborers together with Yahweh. Ye are Yahweh's husbandry. Ye are God's what? Building. Ye are the temple of God. Ye are his husbandry. You his garden. You his field, right? You are the garden of God. We just out there to work in it. We just out there to do the work. We just out there to place this brick here, and make it stick together, right? According to what? The grace of God, which is given unto me as a, meaning what? The only reason I'm sitting here right here in front of y'all is because the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, gave me some grace. And I'm here to let you know, look, you got some grace too. You got time to get yourself together too. Just like I got time to get myself together. And I don't say that as in we got all the time in the world, but this is the time to repent. This is the time to examine yourself and fix whatever need to be fixed, right? Look at that building and say, okay, this right here ain't right. It's a little chipped over here. Let me place it, get a little mortar and fix that and touch that up right there. Okay, it's good now. Okay, now it's decrepit over here. It's falling apart right here. Let's get that in order. That's what we got time to do, right? So I'm gonna read it again, verse 10. According to the grace of God, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed to how he buildeth thereupon. So it's just like our congregation, right? New Wine Congregation of Israel started out in Valdosta, Georgia, right? I gotta go and move to another area. All right. So it's brothers there that all praises to the Most High. I was blessed to do the work there with in person. All right. My job there in Valdosta, right, was to just lay the foundation. I laid the foundation, all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, of what the Lord wanted me to do there. And them brothers continuing on with that foundation, right? They continuing on to do the work, right? So it says another buildeth their own, right? It says, but let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon. Everybody got to pay attention to how they build it. You don't just build any type of way, right? It says, for other foundation can no man lay that then that is laid, which is Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Our foundation is built on the Lord, man. Our foundation is built on don't add, don't take away, right? If it don't, just read what it say. It ain't you. The preeminence is for Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah. He get the preeminence, right? That's the foundation we got. It says, now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, it say, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. The Lord gonna show you what you made out of, in other words. For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by what? Fire. That y'all gonna go through something. Every person and every congregation gonna go through something, right? And you're gonna go through something. It says, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. The fire, the adversity is gonna try the work that you made, that you built on, right? It says, if any man's work abide which he have built thereupon, he shall receive a reward, right? So that's like, if I bleed and that work keep going on, right? That work keep on going, it gets stronger, it grow more and more and more. That'll show you what you built, right? It say he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer a loss. You did all that work over there for nothing. But he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire, right? So it says, now going into, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. So the work that we doing is to build up the nation. And Paul was a master builder, right? Let's go to Hebrews. But he acknowledged, right? He like, look, I'm a master teacher. I know, I'll praise it to you how I know how to go in this Bible and teach, man. Couldn't nobody teach like Paul taught. You know what I'm saying? He was taught from Yahushua himself. All right. So let's read Hebrews 11 and 10. It says, for he looked for a city which have foundations, whose builder and maker is Yahweh, right? So Yahweh is the ultimate builder. He the one who gonna determine if your work lasts, if it gets built or not. He like the foreman, right? The city councilor, for lack of a better term. He decide if you get the permit to build, right? If you ain't sent by the Lord, you can't build nothing. You ain't gonna build nothing, man. Let's go to Acts 5. If you ain't been sent by the Lord, you ain't gonna build nothing. Acts 5 and verse 38. Right? It says, and now I say unto you, for refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or work be of men, it will come to naught. And that's with anything. If what you doing is solely carnal, you just in it to get wives, you in it to just see how much money you can make, you in it to see how many followers you can get, how big you can grow your channel. If that's the purpose of you being in it, it'll come to naught, right? It'll be over soon. It says, but if it be of Yahweh, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against Yahweh. So if you want to fight against God, go ahead. If that's of God, you fighting with God. You can't stop it, right? You cannot stop it, right? So let's go on. Let's go to the book of 2nd Maccabees. Let me get one more. So the work gotta continue, man. The work has to continue. Everybody got to keep building, right? 2nd Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 23. It says, all these things I say being declared by Jason of Cyrene, right? It says, in 5 books, we will essay to abridge in 1 volume. So he's going into how the book of Maccabees was put together. It was put together from being 5 books to abridged or shortened into 1 volume. It says, for considering the infinite number and the difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story, right? Considering how many people want to know what happened, right? For the variety of the matter, for the different perspectives that was told, right? We have been careful that they that will read may have delight, meaning it'll be easy to read. That's how they put the book of Maccabees together, and that they that are desirous to commit to memory might have ease. and that all into whose hands it comes might have profit. You could get something out of it. It says, therefore, to us that have taken upon this painful labor of abridging, it was not easy, but a matter of sweat and watching. It ain't meaning what? When they put the book of Maccabees together, it wasn't easy. It was a matter of sweat. They were stressing out. Man, we should add this, we need this. Let's keep this part because it's concise, and we can condense this account right here. We got to put the account with the woman with the 7 sons. We got to put that in here. So that's what they did, right? It says it was a matter of sweat and watching, and that's how it is for us, right? Being in this truth, being a teacher, a leader, a man of the Lord, man. It's a matter of sweat and watching. It's a matter of work. And you got to watch, you got to pay attention to what's going on around you to be an accurate watchman, right? It says, even as it is no ease unto him that prepareth the banquet and seeketh the benefit of others. That's just like it ain't easy if you want to have a big feast for everybody and you trying to make sure everybody gets served. You might get to eat. But if you don't get to eat, I've experienced that a lot of times through the spirit, man. Just you try to make sure everybody is getting fed what they need to be fed. So a lot of times, you don't read what you might need to read for your spirit. You putting and reading things together that you thinking, okay, I know this brother dealing with this. This sister asked me about this. Let me put this together, right? You sacrifice yourself a lot of times, man. So it says, yet for the pleasuring of many, we will undertake gladly this great pains. So that's how we are, man. We go out and we teach. You might want to do something else, man. I did a song, all praises to the Most High. Sometimes I get tired. Sometimes I don't feel like teaching. Sometimes I don't feel like reading. Sometimes I want to sit down and do nothing, right? But for the pleasuring of many, we will undertake gladly this great pains, man. You for the thought of, okay, this gonna benefit more other people than it's just gonna benefit me. Let me go on and sacrifice, right? Let me go ahead and pre-record this class so that it'll be up for Tuesday, so people, when they expecting it, they can get it, right? That's why it's not a light thing to call yourself gonna go out here and be a teacher or something like that, man. It ain't an easy or a light thing at all. You got to understand what it is that you're doing. And the Lord said, if you put your hand to the plow and look back, you're not worthy of the kingdom. You put your hand and say, I'm gonna do the work, Lord. Well, you might have came into this thing because you seen them brothers on YouTube and it looked cool to memorize all them scriptures like that. And then you get used to it, and then you go back in the world. The Lord said, you're not fit for the kingdom. Why? Because you just told a whole bunch of people that what they should be doing, and then you yourself couldn't keep doing it. Right? So you don't want to be that type of brother. It says, leaving to the author the exact handling of every particular, and laboring to follow the rules of an abridgment, right? Meaning we abridged things, we made it concise, but we didn't leave anything out, right? For as the master builder of a new house must care for the whole building, you can't just, I'm only going to teach prophecy. I'm only going to teach on the law. You got to care for the whole house. The master builder does. It says, but he that undertaketh to set it out and paint it must seek out fit things for the adorning thereof. Even so, I think it is with us, right? The painter, he's just worrying about painting. Oh, when y'all finish with the deck, building the deck, let me know and I'll come paint it, right? That's how it is. But the master builder got to worry about the whole project, right? He got to worry about everything. And that's how it is when you a leader of a congregation, of anything, man. You have to care about every single part and making sure that it's getting done, or it won't get done. If that person don't show up to do it, guess who got to do it? You do, right? So it says to stand upon every point and go over things at large and be curious in particulars belongeth to the first author of the story. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna end it there. Hopefully you got something out of it, man. We cannot stop doing this work, Israel. We gotta keep going. I treat every prince of Israel, every man that the Lord is using, every sister that the Lord is using, man. Continue to increase, continue to build yourself up because your labor is not in vain. All right. So with that, I'm gonna give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, brother Nashan, New Wine Congregation of Israel. I'm gonna say, Kwam Yasha.